Something strange is going on in a town Ash and the gang have visited, and it all has to do with a Banette stealing from people. But I believe there's something much deeper going on here, and it all has to do with Banette and Ash's Gengar. With 3 episodes remaining of Pokemon Aim to be a Pokemon Master, a new summary and preview were dropped for episode 8 of the series, giving us major context to what these final episodes of Ash and Pikachu will look like. Credits to our sources, Anipoke fandom on Twitter for the new info today. Alright, let's begin. Aim to be a Pokemon Master episode 8, Banette's Search. It will air on March 3rd. The summary for episode 8 goes as follows. Ash, Pikachu and the others have come to a certain town where a strange phenomena has recently been occurring in many houses. In order to solve the case, Ash and the others search the house where the phenomena was most recently noticed, only to find out it was the doing of a Banette. What is Banette's purpose for taking various things from the evaded house? This episode sounds like your typical filler Pokemon episode, where Ash must solve a situation in a town. That's not a bad thing though, because we've had many great fillers in the past. However, the preview and the fact that this episode is focused on Banette is what makes this filler-like episode exceed those low expectations, making it another important episode to Ash's character and the series as a whole. Why I say that is because episode 8 will be sadder and deeper than any episode we've had in Aim to be a Pokemon Master, and the preview holds all the hidden keys to that, which leads us to breaking down so said preview. We open to a scene with Ash, Misty, Brock, Officer Jenny, her Growlithe, and Ash's Gengar investigating a house. Misty states, a strange phenomenon where things in a town disappear, in which Brock replies saying, yeah, it's apparently the work of a Banette. We then see a ghost figure of Banette, who seems to be using its psychic powers to steal some papers. As you all know, the summary stated that Banette has been stealing and things have been disappearing, so that's clearly not the main focus of what the episode is trying to achieve here, because they've already revealed the culprit is Banette. The aim of this episode is to find out why Banette is stealing. The preview then quickly cuts to Ash and the gang rushing into a room and catch Banette stealing. Banette notices it's been caught and uses its ghost powers to teleport away. Before it can fully escape, Ash chases after it, not in anger but in worry, like he wants to speak to it. This reaction from Ash is very normal because he's pure at heart and never wants to judge someone without knowing context on why they're acting in that way, like when Beartic seemed to be evil for freezing everything and every Pokemon in that habitat, which Ash could have easily attacked it and taken it down or even seen it as a villain, but instead he just wanted to understand it to help it out with its problems. So going back to that scene, Banette does in fact escape and Ash fails to catch up. Misty then states, Banette's an abandoned plush toy that became a Pokemon, right? Which is a very important question and key detail to understanding why this episode will shock us. I will touch more on this later in the video. We are then shown Banette, who uses psychic powers to escape outside, where it is now dark. Ash and the gang have also made it outside and Banette starts attacking Misty, who luckily dodges out of the way. Oh yeah, Brock's Croagunk is also here too. Misty then says, is it harassing people because of that grudge? That grudge is that Banette was an abandoned plush toy that became a Pokemon. This is one of the big reasons to why this episode will be deep. We then see Ash, who's walking a little strange, as if he's trying to be cautious of where he steps, as if something is hiding underneath there, like Banette. In this room, Ash is joined by the gang. As you can see, the room looks abandoned, old and dirty, as if someone or some people used to live there. Also in the shot, you can see a huge pile of toys and sweet treats that seem to be for a little child or presumably a little girl. Brock replies to what Misty said earlier about Banette harassing people, saying, I don't know, but Nurse Joy is worried. I assume she might be worried for Banette if she knows it, but I'm thinking she's just worried for the people being harassed by Banette, having their items stolen. Then we see one of the biggest details to understanding why this episode will be so deep, as we see Ash's Gengar, who is sad, speaking to Banette, who is also very sad, holding a picture. Banette is also wearing a little headband with a love heart, so I assume this Banette is a female. In the picture, if we zoom in, we can actually make up a little girl with pink hair, holding what looks to be a Pokemon plush. This is important as it seems that Banette could in fact be the plush the girl was holding in the photo, meaning one thing, it was abandoned as a plush, turning it into Banette, which is crazy. But that's not all, because there's still something major I haven't told you yet. The preview then shows us Gengar giving some comfort to Banette. We then see Brock, who is speaking to Nurse Joy in his typical love confession. He says, "With the power of my blazing flames of love, your heart's worries will..." However, he is suddenly cut off as his face turns blue in pain. We all know that Krogon hit poor Brock with that powerful poison jab. We go back to Banette in the abandoned house where Ash was in earlier. We get a clearer picture of all of the items that seem very feminine for a quote-unquote little girl. Banette is then shown wearing these objects in a mirror, very happy, bringing the preview to a close. So now we know of this information, let's uncover and put this together to understanding what makes this Banette story so saddening. First things first, Banette itself. In Pokemon Emerald, the Pokédex info for Banette is very key to where this episode could be leading to. It reads, "An abandoned plush doll became this Pokemon. They are said to live in garbage dumps and wander in search of the children that threw them away." This is very similar to what's going on with the Banette we see in episode 8. So, the reason she would be stealing these items and going into these houses is the fact that she's looking for the child or little girl that threw her away as a plush doll. Now, that leads us to the question, is the girl even still in the area? I very much doubt that because Banette would have found her already. So, with that established, how can Ash help the Banette? And that's where Ash's Gengar comes in. The huge and major link between Gengar and Banette is that both of these Pokemon were abandoned by their trainers. If you forgot, Gengar was sadly abandoned by its trainer for 3 years before Ash caught it, and Banette has been abandoned because it was most likely the plush doll the girl was holding in the photo. Abandoned for how long? We don't know, but it's what turned her into becoming a Banette. Gengar is important here because I believe it will be the main reason and help source in helping Banette overcome this sad situation of understanding the fact that she has been abandoned. Gengar very much struggled with this as it sat outside the lab for 3 years waiting for its trainer to come back. Experiencing that level of trauma of being abandoned is why Gengar can truly relate and share those emotions with Banette, so she understands that even though some of the saddest things in life that can happen to you, you can still find people who love and care for you, just like how Ash did with Gengar. And that's what makes this episode so sad and deep, Banette having to realize and accept the fact it was abandoned by her trainer, which really is sad, and I can already tell this episode will be emotional. So, what is the biggest way Ash could help this lonely Banette? One of the ways, like he did for Gengar, is catching it. Ash letting this lonely Banette, who has no one, no friends or family, join Ash's family and gain a new friend within Gengar would be so perfect. And if any Pokemon deserves to join Ash's team and aim to be a Pokemon master, it's Banette. Now, do I think Ash will catch Banette? The anime currently doesn't seem to want to give Ash any new Pokemon, like we saw with the Clauncher, Bertic, Hatterene, etc. Regardless of that fact, I do think it's still very possible for Ash to catch this Banette. We have seen Ash get abandoned release Pokemon many times in the past, with Gengar itself, Pignite, and even Charizard, but I strongly believe Ash should catch this Banette. I think all of us would feel so sad to let it just go alone in the Pokemon world. Therefore, Ash needs to catch this Pokemon. Episode 8 is looking very good. I'm sure it will shock us all by having us in tears. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a like and be sure to subscribe for all new future Pokemon anime related content, like the new Scarlet and Violet anime coming up.